Welcome back to the Rock of Truth podcast. We are here live. Nick Statterman is back with us, Jake Sopko, Joe Metzger. Before we get started, a word from our sponsor, Serenity Apparel. In a society constantly telling people who to be and where to go, Serenity Apparel vitalizes a different path, your path. Follow your passion, stay true to your values, and find serenity in who you were created to be. Use code ROCK10 for 10% off your purchases at shopserenityapparel.com. Serenity Apparel, welcome to your escape. Fellas, let's find our escape today and get after it. Bearcat football, back to 500. Let's hear it.
Let's go, baby. I'm happy to be back, dude. I apologize to all our viewers, all our subscribers out there that I couldn't make it last week. I'm so excited to be back, dude. I'm jazzed. I'm ready to go.
We're happy to have you back.
100%. So let's talk a little bit about Kennesaw State. Quick recap. Bearcats kicked their ass. 63-10. Is that the score?
Yeah. 63-10.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it was good. What we said, bounce back week, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, the Bearcats came out, and I think you saw everything that you wanted to see. Offense was efficient. Defense looked good. You never really know what to expect when you're playing a triple option team. But, Luke Fickell has a plan, as he always does, and I thought the defense looked good. Share your thoughts.
Yeah, no, loved it. I think, shoot. When your defense can score 2 touchdowns, you're going to win a lot of games. Barry with a nice scoop and score, Hicks with a pick 6. Got to love that. And, Coach Fick's got something about setting or breaking records against triple option teams. I think last time we played Navy was the least they've ever rushed ever. And the Owls of Kennesaw State, they rushed for 150 yards for 73 games in a row. We held them under that number at 142. So a first down would have got them 74 games in a row, but I still think that's an impressive stat line. And leading that defense is, Ivan Pace. He's continuing to excel. But no, it was a great win. 28th straight at Nippert, 21st straight home opener win as well for the Bearcats. So it was great. Personally being there was awesome. I know counterpart right here, Joe Met, was also there. So it was great.
Did you get down on the field again? I know you've got like basically unlimited access to the sidelines. Did you get down on the field?
No. A friend of the pod, the showman, Ryan Roy was down there. So I walked down to the bottom and talked to him a little bit, but I didn't feel like going all the way down on the turf was probably necessary. Yeah.
But before we even get into the game, can I get a recap of Jerry Gate, the tailgate that we hyped up? I would love to hear the recap of that, what the vibes were, what the music selection was, the complete breakdown on that, and then the atmosphere in Nippert. I watched on television, being down in Florida. Couldn't be there, unfortunately, but it looked electric. You guys were there. Give me the breakdown on both of those.
So Jerry Gate was awesome. I'd say the tailgate experience was great. Obviously Kennesaw State, I don't think there was as many people there, as much as like a Houston game last year per se, but I got to meet Statterman's girlfriend, Shaylin. Statterman picks winners. He picked the winner. So I'm happy for Statterman, but I got to meet her. I got to hang out with some former players up on top of University Garage. We had a good time. A lot of people. We're trying to build on that for more people in the future. But I would say atmosphere was pretty good, don't you think, Nick? The student section was awesome.
It was great. And I actually saw this. I was just bouncing around Go Bearcats page. That was the 6th largest crowd at Nippert. Can you believe that?
Well, they've sold out almost, I think, every game already this year, haven't they?
Yeah, I just was surprised. I was down in the Commons, at the beginning of the tailgate. I think I got down there a little before 1. And like you said, Joe, it wasn't too crazy packed. When I got there, everybody was kind of filed in for the catwalk. So I think it looked a lot smaller of a crowd than I think what really was there. The catwalk's always special. It's good to watch. Good to see some of the dudes still And then, but yeah, no, I think on top of the garage up there was great. I think that was where it was really happening at. I'm excited for the next tailgates we got coming up.
Obviously, the student section left a little early, Soppy, but I think everywhere in the country, if you're up 50 points, people are going to leave the game early. So there's nothing. I don't know if there's a way to resolve students leaving early, but I don't think it's possible. So we
Where
can't
do
really.
you think they went? Are they still going to Woody's, or is now everybody at Short North? I know you were a big Woody's guy.
I would be at Woody's. You know, I know you guys aren't as big into Woody's,
More
but
Short North guys.
yeah, but I'd be at Woody's. I mean, I'd be at Mio's. I mean, Martino's isn't a bad pick. I mean, there's a lot of different places you could go to. I mean, I'm sure some people are going to Dive Bar. I mean, if you had to take one guess, Soppy, where would you think the students were taken off to?
Top Cats is now where like the people
Yeah.
are out. It's a little bit. I'm a little past my time there, but I think
Yeah.
You
that-
sure about
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. But to
Great.
get back to football, let's bring it back. Football, as Daddy mentioned, the defense, not much to talk about when you're playing a triple option team. But again, like you said, Ivan Pace continues to stand out. I think he led the team in tackles. That guy's a stud, and I know we're going to touch on him more later.
11? Yeah.
Over to the offense, quarterbacks both played really well. Ben was 16-19, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, looked complete in control, which you would hope against a lesser opponent like that. He looked great. Evan came in later, was 4-5, 92 yards, 1 rush, 44 yards for a touchdown. It's pretty darn efficient. He looked great, which is what you want to see out of your backup. And I think there's a lot of guys that got in there too. Miles Montgomery had that long run at the very end. Shaman Mateer had 1 catch for like 35 yards. He looked good.
He's going to be really good.
Yeah, he is. There's a lot of guys, young guys.
That's our tight end, our new 18.
Yeah.
Or no. Oh my gosh! What a load!
He's a big.
I thought he was a running back. I'm not gonna lie.
He's a big dude.
He's like Staddy in high school at Nick High School.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But they got a lot to be excited about, those young guys. But they looked good, man. I mean, they beat up on a lesser team, and that's what you expected, and that's what you want. And they got out of it relatively healthy, but there were 2 injuries that are pretty significant.
Yeah.
Will Pauling, I think he injured his MCL, and he's gonna be out for a couple weeks. And the real big one is Malik Van, which you hate to see because he's an older guy, vet coming back, kind of leading that defense. And is he done for the year? Was that?
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I think it's what it kind of looked like on social media as well. Hate that. Gosh.
Yeah, just terrible.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy who's that awesome of a I mean, I know you two know him, but even when I've gotten to know him a little bit, just an awesome dude, like a really great guy.
Great,
like someone who's easy to root for.
100%. Great kid, hometown kid. And this is going to be a big year for him. So again, we hate to see it. It's a huge loss for the defense, but for the program as a whole.
Yeah, and that's a kind of a position group that is a little younger already. So knowing just how he is, like Joe was saying, I think he's going to do a great job as stepping into that player coach role on the sideline. I mean, he's not going anywhere. We'll still, he can still make an impact for us. It sucks we're not going to be able to see him in between the white lines. Just awful. But yeah, I mean, not much else. I don't think the hit there on Kennesaw State, unless you guys got something else you really want to hit on. I mean, we took care of business, did what we had to do. And, I think it's time to move forward. It's the 126th battle for the Victory Bell this weekend.
Hopefully the last battle for the Victory Bell, in case anyone wanted to talk about that.
Well, you've seen all 126 games or 25 games, so I mean, you must be exhausted.
You know what's crazy to me? The series is tied.
Oh my gosh, we're looking for our first lead since 1915.
Let's get the lead and get out, though. Honestly, question for both of you as players. Like, I mean, I was there for the game a few years ago. We should have lost Coach Fickle's first year. I was in the stands. Like, they basically just gave us the game, like Chuck Martin, who we'll get into what he was saying all week.
Yeah.
But what a great, like, trying to run down the clock. He decides to throw from his own end zone, pick six for Malik Clements. Anyway, I was there for that. That's about the only time in the last 15 years I remember us being like, maybe we should have lost that game. But heading into the Big 12, I know there's significance behind the rivalry. I think the Bell's cool. I just don't see the benefit for us leaving Nippert Stadium to ever play those guys. Like, it's just a completely different brand and different athlete of football now moving forward. And, times are changing. What are your thoughts on my take on please cancel the game unless they're going to come to Nippert every single year?
I mean, hey, they're paying us to play in our backyard now, so we might as well just play them all at Nippert. But no, I don't disagree with you. Me as somebody from Cincinnati and just, wear pretty proud on my chest. I love just whooping up on them because I hate them. But aside from a pride standpoint, it doesn't make much sense on paper. I think it's turning into kind of why the Buckeyes won't take a trip down here. Like, it's just kind of, why would we risk that loss kind of deal? But I don't know. I mean, it's the oldest non-conference rivalry, so it's special. It's got all that history behind it. That's one thing that makes college sports so great, which I know you do argue for other things, Joe.
And I like that. Like, I like traditions, but the fact of the matter is college football is literally moving away, and they're telling us we don't give a damn about traditions anymore. So because of that, I kind of have shifted to, well, if all these big boys in college football are going to play the game where Ohio State's going to say, we're not coming down to Nippert Stadium, we shouldn't go and play Miami at Miami for sure. But even at Paul Brown Stadium, they won't even let us host our recruits.
Paycor.
Yeah, Paycor Stadium. They won't even let us host our recruits this week.
Crazy. Like, how are we supposed to fill the stadium if we – yeah.
Whatever. Stop. You got any thoughts?
I'm indifferent in a way because I like the traditions. I like that there's a rivalry and that there's this history and all that. But when I didn't know coming to Cincinnati, I before I got there had no idea that there was even a rivalry with Miami of Ohio. And I knew about Cincy because I was going there and all this stuff. And my mom went to Miami, Ohio, and I had a bunch of friends who went to Miami, Ohio. So I knew about that. I had no idea about this rivalry until I got there. That hasn't been much of a rivalry. And it would be different. Like, you think of rivalries, you think, Ohio State, Michigan, Browns, Steelers. I mean, you think of like bad blood and all this stuff. Do we have bad blood? I know, Stat, you said you don't like them. Do we have bad blood with Miami of Ohio? I liked Miami of Ohio. I would visit there every.
You like Brick Street?
I had a good time.
I don't.
I would go there, drink with some of their players. They were good dudes. Like, it wasn't bad blood. We would shit on them, go there, hang out with my buddy. We would go to the bars. It was fun. Like, I don't know. It wasn't like one of those things where it was just like another team on the schedule and like we got a bell that we got to ring. And I know they played us pretty hard the first couple times we played them, but then I feel like after our first 2 years that we were there, Statty, after that, it was just like, all right, we're gonna go kick Miami's ass. And
yeah, I mean,
and even like, obviously, you think about our down years with Tuberville, right? We still beat them. Like, Kelly and Butch and D'Antonio used to whoop up on them the same way Fickle whoops up on them now, right? The only thing that there was maybe a few year period, but the last 15 years have been completely dominant. So I'm not saying like there's not significance. Like, I appreciate the rivalry. I appreciate the history behind it. But ultimately for me, it just comes down to the fact that, like, I don't even think we're not even close to the same level of playing field anymore.
Right.
It just loses its coolness factor, I guess, for me.
I mean, it's pretty much just kind of run its course, I think, is kind of what you're getting at. Which I could agree after hearing you guys say it. I mean, and like you said, I mean, our three recent games, 49-14, 35-13. Last time it was at the Bengals Stadium, it was actually 21-0. One of Fickle's only two shutouts he has. And I mean, it was monsoon season, and actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think did Sopko get some snaps in that
So there's a funny story about that game.
one?
So we're like you just said, it was a monsoon. I mean, if I don't know who remembers that game, but it was
Worst experience of the game of my life.
it was awful. And being a proud backup like you and I were, Statty, knowing that you're probably not going to go into the game, you're just sitting on the sideline, like waiting for, we want to get the win, we want to get out of here. And once you figure out, like, okay, this is out of hand, you just want to go home. It's freezing cold. It was like very early. It was freezing and it was pouring. And you're sitting there and you're just like, damn, I'm ready to go. So we're up 21-0. And I'm on the headset, as I always am. And so that was Dez's first game as a starter, I believe. And so Dez was starting, Hayden was the backup, and I was the third string. And it's up 21-0. It's going to the end of the game, and they're on the headset, and they're like, "Let's take the knee," and they're like, "Let's put Sopko in to take the knee." Like, just completely skip Hayden. Like, let's put me in the knee, and I'm like freezing cold. I'm soaking wet. I'm like, no, let's not put Sopko in to take the knee. Like, nah, let's not do that. So then I'm like, shit, I got to go in and take the knee. But we're up 21-0. I'm like, all right, take some snaps. So I go with whoever the center is. I don't remember. And I'm Joe. I'm telling you, it's a straight monsoon, dude. It's awful.
I was there. I was there for all 4 quarters. It sucked.
And I'm taking practice snaps to take a knee. Sidelines. I take 3 practice snaps. Don't secure one of them. Like, one is just not even get to my hands. The other just completely slip out of my hands. 0 for 3 on the practice snaps. And I hop back on the headset. I'm like, yeah, like, I'm not taking the knee. Like, it's just have Dez take the knee. And then they didn't end up putting me to take the knee, and Dez goes and closes it out. Yeah. It was, yeah.
That was that was the birth of Josie D, I think.
Yeah, it's his first career touchdown as a Bearcat.
On goal line, I think pop pass, right? Play action.
It was on Y skip, maybe.
Whoa. No, not Y skip.
So that was like that little like Tim Tebow jump pass action where Dez goes quarterback power, pulls up, dumps it, Josiah's wide open in the back.
Yeah, I mean, other than
a couple times, Bruno had a couple touchdowns on that as well throughout his career.
Yeah, he did. Other than being absolutely miserable, the only highlight I can kind of think of is, do you remember James Wiggins just absolutely murdering their running back in the flat?
I do remember that, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was just great. But yeah, I mean, hey, I don't know much of what Miami, Ohio's got to offer this year. They still got what's Gabbert? Is he still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's still there. All right. Okay. So they might have some talent over there.
They took Kentucky to halftime toe to toe. Obviously Kentucky pulled away in the second half, but I do believe if we don't come ready, I mean, it could be a close game at half. I mean, at the end of the day, I just think we have superior talent. I think we've got superior coaching. I think, I could go on and on. I think we're going to have more fans. I mean, we can go on and on, but I do think I think they're a decent football team. I think they're going to compete for the MAC. So we got to at least respect them going in, but I do expect us to win. I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking going into this game.
How do you feel about them covering 22.5?
I was just trying to find it.
I believe it's 22.5.
22 on the dot. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's saying something. I mean, I don't know.
I would take, and the spread, I would take Miami, but I would think the Bearcats win by 20, 21. It would just be right on the edge. I think it's going to be right around there.
I think they haven't the past 2 seasons, but before that, they always played us really well, even if we were the better team. So I think it's one of those things. If we come out and we're up 14-0 quick, I mean, they'll cruise and they'll beat.
Might be curtains
the way they should, but if it's 7-3 at the end of the first quarter going to half, I still think they win the game pretty convincingly, but it's going to be closer. I really think it all depends on that start.
Yeah.
I think after the first quarter, you'll be able to tell, is this a game where we're just going to run with it, or is this going to be like more of a dogfight than it should be? Like, is this game going to be closer than than
Well, I was about to say, remember last year, first play from scrimmage, Dez hit Tyler Scott in like an 80-yard touchdown. So, you
Yeah.
know, so like if that's the kind of start we have, we'll cover. But it just like you said, it's gonna depend on the start. So we'll see.
What's our weather looking like? Because like we've said, the last one at Paycor at the Bengals Stadium was monsoon.
It looks 80, high of 86, low 61, sunny Saturday.
So six
Football weather.
6 is gonna be slinging it.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the this is totally off topic, but the Paycor Stadium? I did not know that was the name of the stadium until I saw it on Twitter this morning.
Joe Stadium.
Joe Stadium is my favorite.
Being Bengals fans, how do you guys feel about that?
Love it. Make more money.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't. We don't have a name attached, like our owner's name, or I guess previous owner's name attached. Like I like that.
It's
actually drove by the stadium. I can't remember when, but it was evening. And the Paycor logo looked kind of sick on the side. It's like a big orange. I don't know, it looks like a boomerang, honestly. It had a cool little glow to it. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays with sponsorships and naming rights, you kind of have to do it that way. Like Paul Brown was obviously iconic and cool, but I like that the Bengals kind of entering the 21st century here and deciding that they're gonna make some money off of naming rights and all kinds of cool sponsorship deals. So I love it. Good for Mike Brown or his the people who are helping him, which is his daughter and granddaughter. So shout out to the Blackburn girls.
His daughter, actually, this is a fun fact, is next door neighbors with Luke Fickell, if I'm not mistaken.
That's awesome.
Oh.
I've been to the Fickell estate, and that's
a nice place.
He's living well.
Yeah,
that's a cool place.
Happy for him. He deserves it.
Maybe we should do like a live session at the Fickell estate with Coach Fickell. Do you think you two could get that set up? I mean, I know I can't, but you two are legends.
I get texted. He might have deleted my number after I left, but hopefully not.
Bump into him here and there. I can run it by him.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You could probably get us at Hope Street's estate too.
Yeah, can we do a live episode from the barn?
Yeah. I mean, hey, while we're talking a little NFL with the Bengals Stadium, I mean, shout out to all our guys who made their debuts this weekend at the Bearcats. I mean, a lot of rookies out there playing. That was awesome. I mean, Sauce just continuing to be just a lockdown talent corner. I mean, golly. I know they played the Ravens?
Yep.
I mean, that's not a team that airs it out, but I mean, it's still impressive.
They did, Lamar threw the ball really well, and he had good stats, but I think Sauce graded out pretty well, and he had a nice break up on a touchdown.
One reception for 8 yards, I think, is all they gave up. Yeah. So
Another
one, a guy, not a rookie, but just somebody I've always been just a little biased fan of. Used to be my barber, Defo Cuts. I mean, getting the start out there, working his way up to become a starter, calling game with a pick. That was pretty cool. I liked it. I just think, it's just always cool to see Bearcats out there on TV on Sundays.
He played great. I think he graded out. I had the tweet somewhere, but like a 91.4 or something. Yeah. He I wish I had his stats pulled up.
That hit he put on that guy where the ball came loose. That's
oh my gosh.
We were used to seeing that. I mean, he was a stud. I always felt like he was so underrated. I mean, the fact he went as late as he did in the draft was shocking to me. But I think for all of us, like, we can agree, it is awesome to see Bearcats succeed in the NFL, because it is not only, like, obviously we just want to see Bearcats succeed because of the time they put in as a Bearcat and the fact that you fall in love with these guys as they're playing for whether it's your alma mater or your favorite team, whatever it is, right? But at the same time, it also helps the program. It helps recruiting. Like, that kind of stuff matters. So, like, I'm always on Sunday flicking through, who's playing, what are they doing, how are they doing? So Defo, obviously, he stuck out the most on Sunday, in my opinion. That was awesome.
He graded out 91.5 on PFF. I don't have the stats pulled up, but I know they were really good. He played really well. Also, being a Browns fan, I watched, the entire game on Sunday, as I always will. And James Hudson got the start for Jack Conklin, who's down. And I'll tell you what, Hudson's night and day from where he was last year. He struggled as a
Nice.
the Browns, but he played so well. And I'll try to find that tweet too. He graded out super well. I mean, he looked great. He was solid. There was really
That's awesome.
he played well, a huge step in his second year. So again, that's another guy.
Awesome.
That's sweet.
Making that jump. And then I know we have the stats somewhere too. Josiah had 2 catches for 28 yards. Love to see feet 81. Just like you said, love seeing Bearcats in the NFL, man. It's exciting. Travis Kelce, obviously the OG, just
steady Eddie over there balling.
that dude's just different.
Just starts the year off with a tutty. Just a beast. But
all right. Real quick, let's jump. I mean, before I want to get like score predictions for Saturday's game from both of you, but before that, can we talk about Goofy Chuck Martin?
yeah, let's. I know you probably got. I want you to take the lead on that one for sure.
He just like earlier this week, for Bearcat fans that don't know, earlier this week, he's on press conference. He's infamous for saying weird stuff before this game. I mean, I know you guys all remember a couple years ago when they played Ohio State, and he was like in his press conference before the game, he basically said to the media, if we were playing backyard football, Ohio State would get the first 100 picks. I mean, like, just, don't know why. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Miami players knew going in there was going to be a tough game for sure, but I don't know why you pretty much tell your team you're going to lose before they even step foot on the field. Anyway, this week he goes in on Ben Bryant transferring. He basically calls him out and asks, questions. Is he going to transfer again at the end of this season if he's not done and he wants a 6th year? And he was talking about Ivan Pace and how he wasn't good enough to play at UC. And I think they even talked about him waiting all the way up until signing day to see if UC would give him an offer. I know, Sopko, you've got some stories you can tell us here in a second, but he kind of went in on his former player saying, this is basically NFL free agency now. He was basically just crying on the entire press conference about the transfer portal, and the whole time he was just talking about 2 guys, right? So obviously Pace is awesome, Ben's awesome, but I don't think most of our roster is really not a bunch of transfer guys. I mean, a lot of it is Ohio homegrown kids that are staying home or playing for the city of Cincinnati in the Bearcat CPAW and Coach Fickle. So I don't really get where he was going with all that. I don't know if anything was necessary, but just odd. Just fueling the fire, I think, which is never a good thing when you're playing against Coach Fickle, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I didn't know about those comments until you brought them up before we hopped on here. So I don't know why. Like, what are you gaining from saying that? And maybe he's just upset because he is at a stepping stone program. Like Ivan Pace, he can say all he wants, and maybe he did use Miami as a platform to build himself up to go somewhere bigger, which he in the end ended up doing. To your point, I don't know about Ivan Pace's recruitment out of high school. I don't know anything about that, but to say he wasn't good enough to play here, as I was talking about before, we were playing Miami. He got brought up being Deshaun's brother. And KB Kyle Bolden, who played with him at Coleraine, has played, being a Division I player himself, was on the coaching staff with me last year. Really knows football and has played one of the best high school programs in Cincinnati while he was there, and played with a lot of Division I guys. He said that Ivan Pace was the best high school football player that he's ever seen. And that guy knows what he's talking about, so I take his word for it. So I'm sure he was good enough to play for the Bearcats. Maybe it just didn't make sense at that time. But I don't know what he thinks he's getting out of like taking shots at these kids. I mean, it is a little bit of like free agency, and I guess he's not wrong in that, but it is interesting for him to make that a focal point of his presser going into this week.
I get it for like smaller schools and smaller programs. It's hard to retain guys and keep guys. And I think just as much as you have to recruit them to come to your school, you kind of have to continue to recruit them to keep them with the new era of the transfer portal. But like everyone's dealing with the same stuff you're dealing with, right? Like what is stopping a Cincinnati player from transferring to Alabama, Ohio State, right? Like that hasn't really been happening. And I think that has everything to do with the culture that Coach Fickle's built, and the culture where the program is kind of at right now. I'm not saying it can't happen in the future. It won't ever happen, but it's just a weird to me as a coach of young men to just start like signaling out certain guys in your press conference that played 3 years of football for you and did really, really well and probably helped you win a lot of games. I don't, as a 45, 50-year-old man, I don't understand it. So it kind of rubs me the wrong way for sure. I don't know how you feel about it, Statty.
No, it's definitely weird. I mean, that guy, he just, I don't know. He's got big red shoes and a big red nose and colorful curly hair on top of his head. He's a clown. I think sometimes talking to the media, how just what a interesting guy. But yeah, I just don't understand. Like you guys said, like you know, I don't know to how many kids across the nation where they're begging and pleading for a Miami, Ohio offer. I don't know how many kids across the nation are begging for a Cincinnati offer before we, went and played Alabama last year. So I don't know why you're not happy or proud of one of your guys that was able to succeed for you, bring you a lot of success, like you said, and then he's able to now put himself in a new platform for his next step, his future. Like,
yeah, but he's not going to celebrate that. Like, hey, he left here to go here. I mean, I'm sure he's a little bit.
No, you don't say that to the media, but you also don't tear the kid down. Like you could say, if you want to talk about how the transfer portal is just similar to free agency, I think you can deliver that differently without tearing down a guy that was one of yours. Like, I don't know, like what. It's like a guy that was at North Texas goes crazy and then transfers to like an SEC school, and that North Texas coach is like, oh, well, that was dumb. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. No, for sure. Very interesting. But it is what it is. And kind of going off of that, obviously, like even for Ivan coming out of high school, he definitely was he's obviously smaller, right? And I'm sure he was just as talented in high school. I think it was probably because coaches just kind of overlooked him just because of size. And obviously he went to Miami, showed differently. I mean, he came to UC, but he had a lot of big time SEC offers, leaving Miami. So I think it's awesome that we were able to land him, that both the Pace brothers are able to play for us. And I think we're extremely lucky, but going off of that, what are your guys' score predictions for Saturday? Give it to me.
Soppy.
I'll go 31-14 Bearcats.
Nice. I don't think we kick field goals this week. I think we're all tutties. I'm going to give us 4 more points and go 35-14. I think we cover the opening line, which I believe was 21. So to those people that jumped on that on Monday, good job. Yeah.
I'm going 28-10. 28-10.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that or not. I'm hoping it's like 28-0 and the offense just kind of stalls out and maybe a few touchdowns towards the end of the fourth quarter or something,
I mean, I think he's gonna give us the ball, give us a couple more possessions. That 5 over there. He kind of, I don't know, Soppy can hit on it more, but I feel like he just kind of sits back there and tosses grenades sometimes.
He's a decent little player. He's quick. I know he moves well. He's a little bit undersized, but he's solid. I don't have too much on him, but I'm interested to see how it goes. I think, again, like you said, I could see it going the way. I really truly believe it. The first quarter is going to tell you. I think if they're not 14-0 after the first quarter, then I can see like 28-10, a little bit of a grinder game where they leave some stuff out there, some missed opportunities, and the game feels like it was more one-sided than the score shows.
Yeah.
And I could see them coming out and kicking their ass, but you never know. I mean, again, like we said, it's a rivalry game. It could be a close game, and God forbid Miami comes out and has a game of their life and they give the upset. Who knows? But I'm sure it'll be a good game. People will be excited regardless. They all for this game.
Do we start this year with a little PA shot again? What do you think first play call is? Are we just gonna get? I can see us honestly now that I'm thinking about it, Joe. 28-10. I could see us just feeding Corey Kiner and he just kind of big homecoming at the Bengal Stadium, and I could see him having a big day.
I would love that. I love anytime Corey Kiner has a football in his hands. I love it. Right, Sabi?
I like it too. He's a good player.
It's fun to watch.
Well, we got one prediction
Established
down.
the run game, play action off of it. I live for that.
One prediction down. Do we get into the locks of the week? I no longer need you guys to help me out.
I have your lock of the week actually this week.
I have. Let's go over so on the year. We went 0-3 week 1.
Nice.
And we went 1-4 week 2. So we're 1-7, which is not
17%.
Which is not good. So I have the recap written down here. I took BYU versus Baylor out in Provo, the over at 53.5. I don't know if you guys watched that. It was the late night game. I don't know if you guys were out on the town, the banks. I don't know. Were you at Holy Grail? Were you at home? Joe, knowing you probably running around.
Statties was at Kirby's.
Saturday night. No, I was there Thursday night.
He was at Top Cats. Okay.
Well, I was on my couch and it was a whack ass game that went to overtime. And
I was actually at Murphy's Pub after the game. I went to Murphy's after the game.
Yeah, Murphy's. That's awesome. Were you eating the free popcorn?
No, roller dogs, baby. Roller dogs.
Yeah, they got the roller dogs. I used to both of those are gross. I used
roller
to
dogs.
Everybody would have their hands in the roller dog. Yeah, Murphy's.
That is awesome.
Dude, fact about Murphy's though, before we go on this, I always tell people this, and it might not even be true, but I didn't go to Murphy's a lot, but I went there a couple times, and they have a like framed picture of like a newspaper clip, or maybe it was like a flyer for Nirvana. Nirvana played at Murphy's before they got big in the early 90s.
That's pretty sweet.
Where?
At Murphy's Pub.
Like where the pool tables are?
Probably. I don't know.
Gosh.
Maybe, honestly, I tell everybody this. I might have just been
parking lot
and made it up myself, but I swear I saw like a thing saying that Nirvana played at Murphy's in the
what year would that have been? We got to get an alum to confirm that.
I mean, Nirvana was big in like 90. I mean, I know it was early 90s, so it had to have been before they got
early 80s, mid 80s.
No, I think it had to have been like early, like 1990.
Okay. You think they blew up quick?
I mean, yeah, I just don't think that they were like performing in the late 80s. Dude, I don't know. I'll fact check it and we'll bring it back for next week. But this is just something that I tell people all the time because I saw it one time. But there is a chance that I completely made it up at some point.
Nah.
All right.
Well, I don't even want to go down that path. I think it's true.
Off that tangent.
We got to boost our 14% in locks. That's not 17, 14%. I was giving us a little bump, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Arkansas, South Carolina. Joe took South Carolina to cover +8. They lost by 14. Joe took Kentucky money line over the Gators in the swamp. That hit. My Anthony Richardson for Heisman take completely failed. I cursed him after week 1. He played so bad after I hyped him up, so I feel like an idiot. Statty's lock of the week that Statty didn't pick that I picked for Statty was North Carolina, Georgia State over 64.5, and it almost hit but missed by 1.5. The total was 63. So that was our recap on picks last week.
Didn't cash. All right.
Do you have your locks of the week, Sappy? You have them ready to go?
I took one. I looked through. There was a couple that I was toying with, but I said, you know what? I'm going to pick one.
What's the rule here? We doing multiples now?
I think we gotta do one. Joe just started throwing out multiple. There was a couple that I liked. I didn't love, but a couple that I liked, but I picked one. I think that's what it should be.
I hope it's not the same as me again.
If it is, I'll pick a new one.
I have mine ready.
I'm ready.
But I mean, I've got Statties for him too. I was thinking Statty would take the Youngstown State Penguins money line over the Kentucky Wildcats this week.
Shout out Ethan Coe, Youngstown State Penguin. But no, we're not going to do that.
Mason Garrison, strength coach at Youngstown State.
Gary, that's right.
The Penguins, the Fighting Penguins.
I mean, with those two, the Penguins got a shot.
Let's hear your locks.
Armand Binns, coaching for the Penguins. Doug
right.
Phillips.
You're
with him at UC with the Penguins.
Austin Bouge-Knock. Is he still there?
It's basically like a mini Bearcat coaching staff.
Josh, oh my God, Josh Synagoga, great guy. He's the quarterback's coach there. So we got a whole lot of Penguins over there. So we're big. I'm all on the.
Take them, Statty. Take them, Statty.
We're gonna ride the Pens then.
Statty's lock of the week. The Penguins.
Yeah, I guess I won't. I guess that's it. No,
that's a pod.
Okay, that's a pod lock.
That's a pod pick. That's our pod pick.
Yeah. Not a potluck, but a pod lock. I love that. All right, I'll go ahead and go. I'm gonna take the who I think is gonna be a great team out of the ACC. They got their quarterback last week. The Demon Deacons. They're favorited by 16.5 against the Liberty Flames. Why? I don't really need to talk much about Wake. I think everybody knows just what they got over there. Hartman is just a beast, just very explosive. I think Liberty hangover season after, obviously Malik Willis saying see ya and just kind of didn't really look deep into it, but it took Liberty 4 overtimes to beat Southern Miss 29-27. Now, you think 4 overtimes, you're thinking like 40 points each team. So I think that was kind of an eye opener. And then to open the year, they beat UAB 21-14. Like, I don't know. I can see Wake winning by 3 touchdowns, no problem. So even if Liberty stays around this 24 point, I mean, Wake can go out there and drop 50. So, yeah,
I like it.
I'm going big points here, but I like Wake by 17.
My lock of the week. I have 2 again. I got
2
confident picks. And listen,
pick one and then be like, but
are you parlaying it or
what? I'm parlaying it. I'm parlaying it this week.
That's one bet. That works.
Listen, Toledo Rockets to cover the 32-point spread against the Buckeyes. The Toledo Rockets. Yes.
Rockets.
Yes. That's my number 1 pick. My second pick, and hear me out. My second pick's going to be, I think the Texas A&M Aggies, after a tough loss last week, bounce back and beat. Actually, scratch that. I don't like that at all. Now that I'm thinking, I'm going with Toledo to cover the spread. And I'm actually going to take. I could be wrong here, but I'm going to take the Texas Tech Red Raiders to beat the NC State Wolfpack. Beat them, money line.
Wow.
As 10-point dogs. Yeah.
Wow.
Those are my 2 picks. Red Raiders and Rockets.
What's that? Like plus 550?
Listen, we'd be making bank if that hits.
$100 get your rent for the month? Dang.
Stoppy, take my advice. You've been struggling the last few weeks.
Dude, I'm done betting. I'm losing too much. I'm done. I did hit on Seahawks first quarter on Monday, so I'm up this week. But I'm
just stick to the professional.
Other than our picks, obviously, I'm done. I love those picks. What I have, I went back and forth on a couple different ones. Just saw this matchup, saw this line.
Can I try and guess it?
Yeah.
Is the mascot the Roadrunners?
No, but that was the one that I was about to do. I like that, Statty.
Little hangover, Texas against Bama.
Statty.
No, he won.
I thought about that. I had the whole hangover bit in my head. That was my second choice.
All right.
But what I did go with was the Michigan State Spartans plus 3.5
Love it.
at
Oh, love it.
Washington. I don't know a
Love
whole lot about Washington. I know Penix is their quarterback. I don't believe in Penix. Washington just seems like a team that lets people down time and time again. I'm not saying the Spartans are going to go in there and win, but I think they cover 3.5 points. I imagine that being like a 17 to 14 game, something boring. But the Spartans cover. I've seen it at +4 too.
I mean,
Take the
do you
money
think
line.
it's because the travel? Like, I don't like how the heck is a Pac-12 team? I know Michigan State doesn't have a lot of people they did last year, but how does a Pac-12 team be a favorite against a Big Ten?
Well, they're at home, but Michigan State's the 11th ranked team in the country. And I'm not a guy who has a whole lot of belief in Michigan State, but
I would hammer the Spartans money line.
I'm a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of belief in the Huskies.
Yeah, the Huskies are always just like, yeah.
It sounds to me like you should hammer Spartans money line and win you and Miss Avery a ton of money for the rest of your weekend.
There's a solid chance that around 7:30 on Saturday that I might be more willing to put some money on the money line than I am right now. But
can we make the Roadrunners another pod pick?
I like that too a lot, Statty. I had the exact same thought.
Joe, you know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I think we got to make them a pod pick.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Trying to find it.
Them in the fighting.
12.5. They're going to score. They know they can score. They got a great QB. That takes you a long way in college football.
And Texas, I mean, obviously lost.
Their quarterback.
Yeah. What's his name? I can't think of it.
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, and he was awesome. I watched that whole game. I hadn't watched him before, and he was awesome. And Texas defense was awesome. That was a game. Bijan, he's awesome. He's a stud. But their backup quarterback was dinged up too. So I don't know what his health status is, but he looked banged up out there. So I like UTSA. I think they're sneaky. I don't think they're going to win, but I think it'll be a close game.
The Roadrunners.
The Roadrunners.
I think Joe staying away from the U is a good call.
Yeah, I just don't know about that game. I don't know how good the U is, and I thought I saw the Aggies were underdogs, but somehow they're favorites. So I was like, okay, forget it. I thought I was being smart with that pick, but then I looked at it and I thought,
wow, they are 5.5. What the heck?
Yeah, I said no way. Why would I even think about doing that when I've got
another? Is Slovis playing this week? Because the Broncos of Western Michigan aren't a slouch now. I saw there was questions about Slovis's health.
Yeah, he got banged up and he was out for majority of that game against Tennessee, who I took, and they won. So that was a rare win, a rare W for your boy.
That 3:30 slate's going to be a fun one. BYU, Oregon, Penn State, Auburn, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech. That one might suck, but those other two, they're 3.5 spreads. So
nothing more fun though than a noon game at Paycor Stadium between the Bearcats and the Redhawks in the battle for the victory bell.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you on that this weekend. I'm not gonna be making the trip down. I think I'm gonna get up early and play a nice solo round at 18.
That's awesome.
Be one with my golf game, and that's gonna mentally prepare me for the Bearcats.
Yeah. As long as
plucking the Redhawks.
As long as you are hitting your distances on Saturday, I think you'll have a great round. I'll be at Paycor Stadium. I'll be there live. I know you two will be at home in Florida in Loveland watching the game. So I'm gonna miss you both there, but I will be representing the Rock at Paycor Stadium this weekend. So we will have a member at the game.
I love that. And next week, hopefully we'll have some great news to recap a great Bearcats dub, and taking over the lead in the series for the victory bell.
Yeah.
And hopefully some other things are coming from our pod as well. Some big things are in the works and in the talk. So hopefully we'll have some exciting news to come out here that can be released pretty soon. So I know we're all looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huge news.
We're excited, man. don't want to give it away. So let's have a great week 3. Love y'all, boys. Let's go Bearcats.
Hey, go Bearcats, baby.
Go Cats, babe.
Hopefully the last game of this rivalry. I'll end it on that. All right, fellas?
Go Cats.
Hey, have a great week, fellas. We'll talk next week.
All right, brother.